Wrestling merchandise, the way we show our love for our favourite superstars. But let's be honest, how often are you actually proud to wear a WWE shirt out in public? Sure, there are a few timeless pieces. Austin 316, the NWO logo, some old DXTs. However, WWE merch today just doesn't hit. So how did we go from bold, eye-catching shirts in the 90s that blended attitude and artistry, to mass-produced, uninspired merch that feels like it was made by Temu? Today we're diving deep into the rise and eventual downfall of WWE merchandise, tracking how we got here and why fans are spending hundreds of dollars on vintage shirts rather than touching anything Fanatics has to offer. Chapter 1. 80s and 90s, Wrestling Merch's Golden Age. In the 1980s, wrestling merchandise exploded into mainstream culture. Hulk Hogan's red and yellow became more than just ring gear. It was a cultural symbol. You had foam fingers, lunchboxes, action figures, and some truly bold shirts. Designs were loud, colourful, and completely on brand for over-the-top personas of the era. Characters like Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, and Macho Man weren't just wrestlers, they were icons. The merch was perfect for the era, but the real boom came in the 1990s. The Attitude Era changed the game. The Attitude Era wasn't just WWE's creative prime, it was its merch's prime too. Merchandise became something you wanted to wear. Black tees with bold graphics, grunge-inspired fonts. Wrestling shirts suddenly felt more like rock band tees than children's cartoon gear. From Austin 316 to The Rock's Lay Off the Smackdown, Shawn Michaels' Heartbreak Kid to DX's Suck It, and of course the NWO's minimalist but powerful black and white logo. The Austin 316 shirt alone reportedly sold over 2 million units, making it one of the most successful wrestling shirts of all time. In 1 year, Kurt Angle claims that Austin made $12 million from his cut of the sales. During the 90s, every major star had merch that actually felt cool. Not to mention the quality was heavy duty, the shirts had structure, the shirts had personality, they felt like real expressions of the character. This wasn't just wrestling merch, this was fashion, it had cultural impact. Chapter 2. 2000s, still holding strong. At the start of the new millennium, WWE was at the tail end of the Attitude Era. Many of the top superstars were holdovers from the 90s and their merch remained strong, both creatively and commercially. Stone Cold's had some bangers, as did The Rock, and even Kurt Angle had some bold, sharp, and character-driven designs. WWE was still using thick, heavyweight cotton blanks, and the designs were still strong. The shirts felt durable, like something you could wear for years. There was also an emphasis on individual branding. Every top guy had their own font, logo, catchphrases that made each shirt feel like a statement piece, not just something printed for the sake of inventory. Even lower card talent got creative designs. The Hardy Boys had massive appeal with teenage fans, especially with shirts that leaned into their alternative, hot topic core style. Lita, along with the Hardys, had some crazy shirts too. These early 2000s shirts still had some of the Attitude Era aesthetic. WWE had moved fully into the ruthless aggression era by the mid-2000s. This was when John Cena became the face of the company and his merch was huge. Cena's shirts were some of the most heavily pushed of all time, and they were aimed directly at kids and teens. Word Life shirts, Chain Gang Soldier designs, WWE turned Cena merch into a franchise. But Cena wasn't the only merch draw. Eddie Guerrero's License to Steal shirt is one of the most sought after today. Randy Orton's Legend Killer phase brought some great designs, and Evolution had some sick shirts too. Edge's Rated R Superstar merch had an aggressive red and black look that stood out, and it actually sold well because of how controversial the character was. The rise of pay-per-view specific shirts were a big thing in the mid-2000s. These shirts would feature all the top stars on the card. WrestleMania 22 and 23 had shirts that resembled concert tour shirts, with dates, locations, and match lineups on the back. Fans saw these as collectibles, and some of them are highly sought after now. You could wear a 2006 Orton tee or a 2007 Cena shirt and still look like a wrestling fan without feeling embarrassed. It wasn't fashion, but it wasn't garbage yet. So what defines the 2000s era of WWE merchandise? Character branding was at its peak. Each shirt had identity. WWE tapped into fan culture by promoting slogans and catchphrases like "You can't see me" and "Rated R Superstar," and building merch around them. And while quality dipped by the end of the decade, it was still far above what Fanatics offers today. It was a time where shirts felt like extensions of the superstar's personality, not just marketing tools. Chapter 3, 2010s, a mixed bag. By the 2010s, WWE merchandise started to slip. In earlier eras, shirts often captured a wrestler's personality, story arc, or even their character's aesthetic. But in the 2010s, merch strategy became simple. Get a catchphrase over, slap it on a shirt, sell it fast. You had some standout pieces like the Shield's merch, CM Punk's Best in the World, Daniel Bryan's Yes Movement, and some Bray Wyatt shirts were generally well received. Emphasis on some. Yeah. But alongside those came a wave of shirts that just didn't hit. A major frustration in the 2010s was how WWE underutilized its creative potential. You had the best wrestlers in the world on your roster, and you couldn't hire people to care enough about what they came out wearing and what they were selling to their audience. Some of these designs worked, others felt like low-effort cash grabs designed to capitalize on crowd reactions, rather than represent the wrestler as a brand. What made it worse was how lazy the design looked. Basic fonts, no graphic work, and often no logo or unique elements. You can't talk about 2010's WWE merchandise without mentioning John Cena, the undisputed king of merch sales for over a decade. In the early 2010s, Cena's merch was everywhere. Bright colors, big slogans, and that instantly recognizable never give up branding. Each new shirt came with matching hats, wristbands, and towels. He was a walking billboard, and while many adult fans clowned on the neon color palettes, there's no denying it was smart branding for kids. Cena's merch was simple, positive, and loud, perfect for the PG era. He sold more merch than anyone for a reason, but this was marketed for Cena fans who were children. Not many fully grown men and women would be seen in one of these shirts. Another major issue fans started noticing during this period was the quality of the shirt blanks themselves. Compared to the heavy cotton blanks of the 90s or even the early 2000s, 2010 shirts started feeling stiff, heavy, or cardboard-like. The cardboard shirt phase, which was a period in the mid-2010s when WWE was reportedly using cheaper Gildan-style blanks. But weirdly enough, those cardboard shirts were still better than what we'd get later. As the decade came to a close, the decline became even more obvious. By 2018 and 2019, most shirts looked like they were designed in 10 minutes. Designs that lacked any connection to the wrestlers' personalities or storylines. A growing sense that WWE wasn't even trying anymore, just rushing designs to WWE Shop after a big promo or pop. The 2010s were a time where WWE could have elevated wrestling merchandise into something closer to what we see in sneaker culture or hip-hop branding. Instead, the produced designs that you wouldn't want to be seen in ignored their most creative talents and allowed shirt quality to decline without concern. It wasn't as catastrophic as the Fanatics takeover, but it was the slow decay that made the eventual downfall inevitable. Fans were growing up, their tastes were changing, and WWE's merchandise just wasn't keeping up. Chapter 4, the Fanatics Era. In 2022, WWE struck a long-term merchandise deal with Fanatics. The aim? Let Fanatics take over e-commerce, global event retail, 300 plus shows per year, collectibles, trading cards, NFTs, and even relaunch WWE Shop as a mobile-first platform. WWE's execs hailed it as groundbreaking, and the results? Well, WWE had record merch sales through WrestleMania and SummerSlam in 2022 to 2023. Fanatics CEO Michael Rubin even described WWE's merch boom as absolutely insane. So where did it all go wrong? The execution. Fanatics is infamous for cutting corners. Let's start with the material. The shirts today are thin. And I mean uncomfortably thin. They're often too long in the torso, the neck holes are way too wide, and the collars feel flimsy. Just look at a John Cena shirt from back in the day. Tight neckline, solid fit. Compare that to Cena in a 2025 Fanatics tee, it hangs like a curtain. it objectively makes him look worse. Older shirts had a snug, structured neckline and a thicker fabric which gave the shirts a solid silhouette. These shirts do not survive the wash. They shrink easily, the print fades or cracks fast, and the fabric gets this weird stretched out feel. The current design format is lazy too. They take a wrestler's name, slap on a stock font, maybe a logo, and charge $35 for the pleasure. Beyond consumer backlash, Fanatics has faced antitrust complaints in the MLB and NFL worlds too. Fans across sports have reported similar issues. Lazy designs, poor customer service, and drops in quality. This shows that WWE problems aren't unique. Fanatics occasionally tries to remake iconic 90s and 2000 shirts. Stuff from the Attitude Era, the Austin or Rock collections, DX, Eddie, etc. But these remakes are printed on the same low quality blanks, and the difference is jarring. The original shirts were made with heavyweight cotton. They had thicker stitching and ribbing, featured bold screen printed designs that lasted. The new ones feel like bootlegs of the originals, except worse, because actual modern bootleggers are doing it better. Chapter 5. The Rise of Bootlegs and Vintage Collecting. Because of this drop in quality, WWE fans have turned elsewhere. The vintage wrestling tee market is booming. Shirts from the 90s and early 2000s regularly sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars on eBay, or through niche collectors. And they're still wearable. Heavyweight blanks, classic screen prints, and actual design work. You're paying for nostalgia, sure, but also for quality that Fanatics simply can't touch. Then there's the underground bootleg scene. Independent artists are creating better WWE shirts than WWE. These designers take Attitude Era vibes and remix them with modern stars. They're printing on quality blanks like Shaka wear, and more importantly, they actually get what wrestling fans want to wear. These are the type of shirts you want to be seen wearing. They're doing what WWE can't, making wrestling shirts cool again. Chapter 6. Travis Scott x WWE. What good merch could be. At WrestleMania 41, WWE gave us a glimpse of what wrestling merch could be. In a surprise collab, Travis Scott's Cactus Jack brand dropped an exclusive collection at WWE World, and it absolutely blew Fanatics out of the water. The lineup included shirts for CM Punk, The Rock, Roman Reigns, Triple H, DX, Stone Cold, a Wrestling is Real tee, which was available online a few weeks prior. One of the most hyped items, a John Cena jersey, printed on premium Cactus Jack blanks that made regular WWE shirts feel like fast fashion by comparison. These pieces had real streetwear appeal. You could wear them to a concert, a gym, a bar, anywhere, and nobody would bat an eye. Hoodies, hats, jerseys, foam fingers. This was everything WWE merch should be. Collectible, stylish, wearable, and high quality. So why can't WWE do this more often? The demand was obvious. Lines for the Cactus Jack booth were massive, and once the collection hit WWE Shop for a limited drop, it sold fast. Now it's only available through resellers on eBay and StockX. Proof that fans will pay for wrestling merch that actually looks and feels good. And sure, we know WWE isn't cutting ties with Fanatics anytime soon. After all, their merch revenue reportedly topped $100 million in 2022, but that kind of success doesn't excuse lazy designs, cheap materials, or a total disconnect from fan culture. WWE merch has gone from being the best in the game to something fans actively avoid. The Fanatics era has stripped away everything fans used to love about wrestling shirts. Now we turn to vintage collectors, underground bootlegs, and one-off collabs, because that's where the passion lives. If WWE ever wants to bring merch back to its golden age, they need to stop designing for quick sales and start designing for the fans again. WWE merch didn't fall off by accident. It was a death by 1,000 lazy choices, but the blueprint for greatness, it already exists. All they have to do is care again. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, and share your favorite vintage WWE shirt in the comments. And don't forget to actually wear your merch out. Just maybe not the current Fanatic stuff.